Welcome back to Dan on Dev. Today we're going to talk a little bit about things that can discourage developers and how to do this better so that you're not discouraging your developers. In the last episode I talked about the fact that developers are creatives and that kind of goes against what we often think about with developers. We usually think about them as being builders, but they're really creators and it's not just building. It's not just putting bricks on. It's the creative process of software development is important. That also means that they have a lot of feelings about their ideas and about their code and how they're going to implement things. And that is often overlooked. So today we're going to talk a little bit about the process, especially in bigger companies versus smaller companies, that can be really discouraging. So that's going to be the topic for today. See you on the other side. Okay, today I got a little bit of inspiration from Fong Thieu. I don't know how to say his name exactly, but he's got some stuff on TikTok. He's actually really good at talking to the problems in tech and really kind of career development in tech. So that's awesome. I took some of this I'm lifting almost directly, but when I watched it, I was like, okay, this, and I'm going to put the link in my description here, but this resonated with me because I've seen this time and time again. And a little bit of the setup here is that this is somehow kind of a talk about the process of startups versus larger companies. And that's extremely true. And kind of going up, some of this will be a replication of what he's got there, but I'm going to share it with you here. Part of it is when you're in a startup, the developers have much more direct impact. Usually the developers really understand the problem and they're part of the problem. Sometimes they've often joined because they thought the problem space was compelling, right? It's not just a software development job. They're actually part of the building process, of the ideation process. They really have an influence on the product itself. And so when they come up with an idea, then go directly to leadership, the CEO in most cases, and share their idea. The CEO says, yeah, let's go do it. They go build it. Weeks, days, weeks, month later, whatever the features in the product, you're now starting to get real world feedback from customers. Okay. This can happen very, very quickly. I remember, we had an idea around redesigning our scanner. This is, with NTO Spider, our scanner back in the day. I had an idea around how to solve this kind of the way the web was moving and how we were moving toward different data formats, kind of, precursor to where we are now with all of the APIs, but kind of saw that really coming and going to be a trend. So we very quickly, sat down with the team, talked about it. I had some ideas, I talked with the team about some ideas and said, let's go rebuild this. Let's go rebuild our whole scanner around this concept. And then we went and did it. I remember after we had released it, I was talking with a competitor, and I had a lot of friendly relationships with my competitors. And this gentleman, I shared with him the idea, what we built, why we built it, how it all came about. And he just looked at me and was just like, he's like, man, it took you 9 months to go from the idea to having it in like you redesigned your entire product around this. It's like, I would not have gotten out of committee. And at this point in my career, I really hadn't really been part of a large company for much time at all. And so that was just mind-boggling to me. I'm like, why not? Let's just go build it. Well, I found out. So I've since worked in a larger company, and this video from Fong resonated because what he describes here, I'm going to kind of walk through how it often looks in a larger company. So let's say the engineer comes and describes an idea. They come up with an idea. They're going to share it with their manager, right? Their team lead in most cases. The team lead is going to kind of think about it, think, okay, yeah, this is a good idea. Let's go share this with PM, the product management. So product management is now going to get into the mix Now, product management, if you don't understand that, what they do is they're really kind of in a lot of cases, they're the keeper of the roadmap, right? So they're going to look at the roadmap. They're going to look at all the other priorities that they've spent all this time trying to make sure fit into the product that they envision and that they've been selling. And any changes can affect it's a cascading effect. So they kind of really often are kind of the no people in some cases. But they're well-meaning and they're trying to make sure that the existing commitments are met. So a new idea always conflicts with that. So the PM is now going to be looking at this. They're going to say, okay, well, I need to check with, business development. They may then also conduct some customer or user surveys. They often kind of meet with the users and present ideas, get some feedback. They have a cohort of these users that they'll kind of work with. And they'll go through that process, right? This is taking time, right? You got days and weeks going through this process. Now, the PM is going to say, okay, this is a good idea. Business development, customers all say this is a good idea. So the PM is probably going to then have to go to the senior product manager, right? The senior PM is now going to get in the mix. And the senior PM is going to look at this and they'll probably check it off, but now the senior PM, they're going to bring in their cohorts, right? They're going to bring in the company's tech lead that they work with the most. That person's going to start kind of spinning off. I'll get back to them. They're also going to start bringing in the UX, the user experience folks. These people are now going to go take a look at this. They're going to be debating the colors of buttons and location and is it a radial or a checkbox? They're going to go through this whole process. They're probably going to then speak to the customers as well, show them some mock-ups of what this might look like. They're going to go through that process. Now, the tech lead, right, the company tech lead, he's probably a tech lead because he's ambitious, so now he's going to start kind of wanting to get his hands in there. He's going to get in there and try to mix things up a little bit. He'll bring in the cybersecurity folks because now he's got a close relationship with them. He's going to want to make sure they check off on things. Get DevOps, so like if this feature happens, how's it going to scale? We're going to plan out all the scaling problems up front. And this happens in large companies because they think if something actually works out, it's going to cause problems later. And when you're in a startup, on the other hand, you'll solve the scale issues when they become a problem, right? Because if that feature actually doesn't end up taking off, you kind of wasted a lot of time. But, in a large company, if it takes off, sometimes trying to go back in scale can actually be difficult. So there's trade-offs, right? I'm not saying that anybody has any ill will in this at all. This is just the process. So now we got security signed off. You've got DevOps is ready to scale. They're going to probably either the senior PM or the tech lead's going to then take it to legal, who's going to want to make sure that everything is okay there. And legal is going to want to make sure data privacy issues are all sorted out, whatever. Whatever the rules are in different companies that you're dealing with, that all is going to go through the process. Finally, it's going to get checked off. And along the way, everybody's been taking credit, right? All of the people in each tier is going to be, pitching this, right? Do they even mention the original developer? I don't know. Unlikely. That's usually what I saw. So it's going to kind of go through this process. Finally, everybody approves it. The PM, the original PM, now puts it on the roadmap. It's going to be said, okay, now we're going to go build this feature, right? So now it's on the roadmap. It goes back to the dev team lead as a feature on the roadmap. He's now going to have to sign it out. So you're going to have now another group of people get involved, right? You're going to have a developer actually assigned. It may not even be the original developer who built who came up with the idea. He may not even get assigned this thing because he's on another task, right? Front-end development, the UI team, right? Front end or UI, different from UX, who's kind of like more theoretical. UI actually implements. The API team's going to have to, put APIs around this, and they're going to have to collaborate with integrations, make sure integrations has all this sorted out. QA is going to have to build up their test units for it. User docs and internationalization will be coming in to document it, update help docs and screenshots and all these things. This whole process in a large company, from that original idea to the final implementation, that could be years. Literally like a year and a half, 2 years, I've seen plenty of times. If it could survive the gauntlet and another new feature doesn't come in and supersede it and kind of get ahead of it on the roadmap, right? It's got to work through all this. What that gentleman told me about wouldn't gotten out of committee in 9 months, I saw that firsthand, and it is so discouraging for developers. Okay, this process can suck the lifeblood out of the real idea makers, the folks on the team, the engineers on the team that you want on the team that are really going to impact the product. So, how did I do this differently? Okay, that process happens over and over and over again. I try to work very hard on, so let's say, I'm in the middle, right? You're kind of in middle or senior management, maybe senior management, whatever. In these large companies, you need to be the champion for the engineers. So it's not about taking credit for yourself. You can take credit for what your team is coming up with, what you're fostering, but name your developers. Say, Mike over here, he had this idea. He's working on this. He's going to try a test implementation, whatever. Let them, if you have a chance to be managing these folks, you need to be their champion. You need to be the one to cut some of this stuff out before you go bring it to PM, hopefully, and depending on the org, you have to try to make sure you're empowered to hand this off to an engineer. Let them go try it. See if it actually works. See if the idea has any merit by implementation, right? Then if it actually can work and you can test it, then start kind of working through the process so that it actually gets formalized into a feature. I did this a lot. Would give our engineers a chance to go experiment, go try. And then they came up with ideas, even if they didn't get implemented. I would share it up the chain constantly. This person did this. This person had this idea. Connor over here he did amazing work on jumping in and solving this problem. Name your folks so that they get credit. It's important. It's not just about their career development. It's also just them personally, right? You want both, right? Personally, they should be getting credit so that then later on, when somebody has an idea, they know these other folks have ideas and engineers end up talking together because they hear about one another. So it's very important as you're going through this process to name folks, give them credit, share the credit. Don't let others steal the glory, right? Steal the credit. It happens way too much in large organizations. So be the champion for your engineers. That helps them feel good, right? They're the creatives. That means they also have feelings, right? If they may not express it outwardly as much, but you will see it in how they shut down, right? As a parent of an introvert, for instance, they may not express how they're feeling all the time. Even a lot of extroverts, they'll hide it. They'll still put on the happy face. They'll still be there doing things. But it matters to them internally. You will create loyalty on your team because you are being loyal. So if you want loyalty, if you want a team that works hard for you, be loyal to them. Work hard for them. This has been Dan on Dev. If you enjoy this channel, if the content I'm bringing is interesting and compelling and useful for you, please click the subscribe, like, all that sort of thing. It really helps considerably. Thank you very much.